I'm John Treese Wells.
And I am Erica Fernandez.
And welcome to Beyond Legacy.
Beyond Legacy is here.
Man, this is episode 3 of season 1.
Yes.
Can you believe it? We're here.
We're
here. We've launched.
Yes,
it is going.
It is going.
Season 1, episode 3. Guys, let me tell you, if you haven't gone back and checked out episode 1 and episode 2, go back, check those out. We will, link it or pin it somewhere in this video. But man, Erica, it's been such a journey.
Yeah,
it's been such a journey getting
to this place,
getting to
right?
this place, this
right?
point.
What it takes to get to this place.
And it's crazy because you see podcasts and you see YouTubes and you see stuff all the time and you're thinking, oh, we can do that. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot.
No.
So,
we tried it ourselves. We were like,
man.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing.
We had no idea, and we're learning as we go.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely a learning curve and a learning. But let's kind of dive into that. How did we get to wanting to do a YouTube channel, wanting to do a podcast, wanting our voices to be heard, and really just talking about how we got here?
So I think if I think back to, it's been about 3 years or so. We're in the finance industry. You guys should know that. We're finance professionals. And as we sit with clients, helping them get structured into various areas of their financial life, and the topic of legacy always comes up because it's like, okay, so who will be your beneficiary? Some people have kids, some people don't. And so the topic of legacy began to resonate with us going, man, what are we leaving? Is it just money? Because when you talk about money, people think you're digging too deep in their pocket. I did my work. I did my stuff, and I want to go live my life. My kids got to get their own. And we so learned through this process that is not how legacy is left. Legacy is left in so many ways that we talked about in the various episodes, right? How you show up, how you be, what you transfer, what you say, how you respond and live your life is a legacy. And so that's part of how we're in our office and we're talking about the kind of thing that started out with first, we started out on the financial part of it and started going with the dime crew.
Yeah.
And that was great conversations we had with those, and start trying to do that ourselves and set up and talk about, I can't even think of the acronym right now, but dime crew, it just resonated with who it was four of us, and we really started talking about money and what that looks like, right? And so then it morphed into what we have today, which is Beyond Legacy, and we've gone through many iterations of what this should be called and settled with Beyond Legacy.
This is such a blessing and a challenge all at once
for behind the scenes people, right?
Because we are not the types to get out in front of the camera, to get out in front of the mic and just talk, but God really has kind of put on our hearts and just in our conversations about what people need to hear. And we really want to simplify the conversation, right? We really want it to be fun and interactive. Money is a huge part of legacy because, I've heard it said that it's not oxygen, but it's up there with oxygen,
way up
right?
There, right? Because in order to do something, you need money.
You have to have resources and money. I believe we all have desires and we all have things we want to do and we all have ideas, but what stops us? A lot of times it's time and it's money. Those are the two things that stop us from accomplishing some of the things that we want to accomplish. I'll put a third one in there, fear as well. That's
where we were with this, right?
That's like we don't think we're adequate enough, or we don't think we have all of the information, or we don't think we can do it. So those are the three things that kind of stop us from stepping out of what God has given us and has purposed us to do. And so, as we are, transitioning into being in front of the camera and into having these conversations, we want it to be so fun and so simple, and we really are just conversation, right?
Yeah, because in ministry for me, I love working behind the scenes. So in the Tech Arts ministry, I'm in behind the scenes. I'm not in front of the congregation and doing all that. And I never forget, it's been about 10 or so years ago. We had a guest pastor, Ken Gibson was his name, and he may see this, may not, but this is the impact he had on me. He said to me, after service is over, he says, "You in the behind the scenes a lot, aren't you?" And he didn't know I was working in ministry. He says, "You need to come from behind there. You need to be out front. God wants you out front." And here I am 10 years later, still struggling with, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to do this. And yet, it's a conversation that needs to be had. It is important that we talk about legacy and how we live and what we live in. And, God is so great, and what he does is that he brings us to scenarios that make us face legacy issues, right? And we are facing that now as a family, but definitely legacy. And so it's kind of one of those things where we interview people. What should we do? What equipment we need? What topic should we talk about? And so we went through that. Okay, you could do it. Just put it out there. Just start. We were like, I don't know if people are gonna see us, and so we've come through all of that and looked through all that. What should be our logo? We've gone through a whole bunch of research and looking at different people's podcasts and videos and YouTubes, and then we learned about YouTube Shorts, and now it's TikTok, and it's like it's trying to figure it all out.
It's ever changing. And you mentioned us having the conversation 3 or 4 years ago of how to have this conversation with the masses. We all have our communities and our circles that we talk to, but how do we impact the world? How do we impact more than just our immediate circles? And this is one way that we have, and many other people have impacted the world based off of YouTube and social media and things like that. And so when we think about, just us getting to this point, yes, we've gone through a lot, but a lot of it has really just been around wanting us to change the narrative of what legacy is, wanting to change the ideas that people have, and wanting to give them new perspectives of who they are, because legacy is not just about the things that we have, but it's you. You are the legacy. You are the value. You are the God-given gift that he has placed in this world to impact everybody. Right?
No matter what, no matter how small, because that's the other part about legacy. You think it has to be this grandiose thing, but sometimes it is just a word someone spoke into your life that transformed you. And now you transformed your life, turned around, start either living different, talking different, dressing different, thinking different, showing up different. And that's what happens, right? This topic of legacy that we're having, we're noticing now, you know how it is when you say you want a car? And you say, I want to buy me a Tesla. You won't see 5 Teslas in a whole 3 months. But the minute you want to do that, that reticular activator, now all of a sudden you see Teslas, right? And so we start talking about this showing up and doing legacy. Now the topic of legacy is being talked about everywhere. And so it just confirms that the topic of legacy is not just about money. We're leaving them every day. Actors and actresses, we never forget. Just think about it. What's his name? Leslie Jordan just passed away. And during the pandemic,
he was
that
a
guy
huge part.
kept us rolling. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that word, but he would start like that. And that's a legacy he had left.
He did.
During the pandemic. The pandemic left the legacy. So legacy is huge. It's a legacy, 6-letter word that has huge impact and widespread.
Right.
No matter the race, color, creed, or country. Everyone's leaving that legacy. And that legacy, as John Tree said, is you. Because you are our tagline said, you're an impact that never dies.
Yep.
It never dies. It goes on somewhere.
Yeah.
And you'll see it.
Yeah. It's so funny because you're talking about it's being talked about widespread, right? It's being talked about in just generational wealth. It's being talked about in estate planning. It's being talked about in business. It's being talked about
passing
in family communities, right? And so I would love for you guys to chime in and hit in the comments just about how you are showing up. How are you showing up in the world? And if you feel like you have not shown up in the world, what is the thing that is in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul that you feel like, man, if I could do this, man, I feel like I'm being called to this, man, I have this great idea. We want you to put it in the chat as well, because we want to encourage you to begin to birth the unborn legacy.
The unborn legacy.
Come on now.
Even that, coming together with that, working with our tech team here. Just, right, that word came out and we're like, unborn legacy. It is in you.
Yeah.
And you have the same fear we have in getting started.
Yeah.
But it's in you to do it. And somebody needs it. Just like, we had to get to a place where somebody needs to hear what we say.
Absolutely.
Somebody, topics start coming. And it's about you. You have a different community that you're going to reach.
Yep.
And so it is an unborn legacy. Legacy is widespread. And so we want to actually bring up this topic. And I started with my grandmother's sweet potato bread recipe, it's recipes.
Yeah.
My sister has a pound cake recipe. I don't bake. If it has flour, you got to measure stuff and stick it in the oven, and it must rise. That's out of my league.
At least you in the kitchen, because I ain't even trying to be in the kitchen. I'm like, can you make that for me, please?
But write the recipes down so somebody can do it, and then I'm gonna be the tester to make sure not ain't right. That's not what I'm used to. Something missing.
Something.
What is it? I don't know, because I don't bake. But it's simple as that.
Yeah.
It's simple as right now. My during the pandemic, me and my sister started sewing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right, and so I'm like,
I
took sewing in the 9th grade. I ain't touched the sewing machine. But during the pandemic, she showed me how to use a serger. Now I can only do straight lines. And a sewing machine just to do some simple, kimono
we became creative.
things I just become. And so it's those kind of things, like my sister get to teach her younger sister how to do stuff. It's those little things showing up as a legacy. I get to go forth and go, yep, my sister taught me how to do that.
Look at this, though. It didn't matter what age you started and what age she began to pass down these things to you, because you're never too old or never too young to sit with someone and go, hey, teach me how to do. Oh, I want to learn how to do. Can you help me do that? I mean, we just had a situation in my family where my aunt, she is a phenomenal woman, right? A phenomenal woman, has started many businesses and has always worked for herself. I love her to death. And she ended up having emergency brain surgery, had bleeding in the brain and all of these things. And that caused us to stop.
It'll stop you in your track.
Man, caused us to stop and reevaluate. How much time did I spend with her? How much time did I sit learning business? Because we're business women too, and she's been doing it far longer than I have ever been doing it. So how much time did I sit with her and gain and glean from all of the wisdom of business from her? And so we decided this year we're going to go over there for Thanksgiving. My dad's going to cook for her, and we're going to just sit with her. But we didn't do that before. We didn't just show up at my aunt's house and just be with her. So the age is, it's never.
It's the thing about leaving older people alone. It's like, I don't want to be with them. But just think about how much you're missing.
Yeah.
Because some young people like to think they know it all.
Yeah.
But the information is really residing in the elders in our lives. We talked about in our last episode, community. Your community of your family is important.
It's important.
There's something you really want to know. Don't let that die. Go to that aunt. Go to that sister. Go to that brother. So you know what? I really would like to learn this from you. Teach me how. And, right, be vulnerable, right? Submit to that, right? And allow them, because what honor is for them to say, you know what? somebody really does take a look at what I do and really want to know and then bring that forward, because that's how business transfer.
Yeah.
That's how legacies go from generation to generation. Someone must have taught someone something. And that is what happened.
Right.
And some of the legacies, some of the people Martin Luther King, and those things. Thanksgiving's coming up, some of those legacies and traditions. So, yes, definitely.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where you may not use it right away. I may have heard it, and I may not act on it right now, but 10 years down the line, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe
because I didn't act on the sweet potato bread right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's going to be around forever, never thought about it. But now that I want it, she's not here.
Yeah.
And I just let that go by, and then trying to get the bakers in the family to try to remember it, and they don't know how to make it either. And so it is important that you sit around and you glean from people to actually learn legacy, the things in your family, the things you want your kids to know, and generations to come to know.
One of the things I want to kind of touch on, you touched on it a little bit about our partners. That is a huge part of community and legacy as well. We sought out different people to come alongside us and to help us. And I want to take the time just to thank all of them, because this would not be really possible without the influence, the encouraging, the backing, the constant conversations.
The belief, because that's important. They believed,
right. And they told us to keep going, right? So, being able to find people with like-mindedness and just saying, hey, let me help you. Let me come alongside of you. Let me support you. How can I be a part of this? And so, none of this really is possible without our team. So we're truly grateful for them. But that is a part of community too. And that's a part of legacy as well. We get to pour into their business. They get to pour into our business. That's an impact that will carry us on, even if they don't stay with us.
You. Now you get to be a part of that, and you get to hear what they have influenced and put into our life, and help us actually to deliver to this point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media handles. We will have apparel available to you shortly. So please continue. Don't forget to put in the chat, who is in your community? What unborn legacy do you have that you haven't put out there yet, but you're ready to just throw it out there? We want to support you. We want to help you.
So do that, post, and then go and be that legacy.
Awesome. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.